陈麦，你们人呢？人去哪里了？
Hey Chiang Mai, where is everyone? Where did all the people go? I've been walking around for a while and haven't seen a single young person. Isn't that strange? This is Dongpo Pedestrian Street in Chiang Mai. There's no one here. Honestly, even the area by the city gate doesn't have many young people. It's mostly elderly. I heard this is supposed to be the busiest spot, but I barely see anyone around. I have no idea where everyone is. It's the same everywhere. You walk around for ages and don't see a single person, except maybe a few elderly folks. Hardly any students around either.
今年的三亚有些异常冷清，景区爆冷。
Sanya feels unusually quiet this year. Tourist spots are empty. The beaches are empty. We have way fewer visitors than in previous years. Hotels are empty. Even the duty-free shops, people just browse, but no one's buying anything. Those two stores that used to have long lines, now they're practically deserted. There's still people around, but they just aren't spending money.
Hainan is one of China's top tourist destinations, and Sanya is among the most famous cities. The peak tourism season in Hainan usually runs from November to April. By November, the crowds typically begin to arrive. However, as 2024 draws to a close and 2025 begins, Hainan remains unusually quiet. The sluggish commercial activity has left many concerned that the Chinese New Year might become a harsh winter for the tourism industry.
今天走到楼底下去看，其他家都很差。
I went downstairs today and saw that other shops are struggling too. There were barely any people on the streets. Honestly, I had high hopes for Christmas. It's usually a little boost for business based on past years, but after National Day, sales just plummeted and things didn't pick up during the winter solstice. Christmas is supposed to be a time when young people go out and celebrate, so I thought we would see a little uptick. I was wrong. Now I don't have much hope for the upcoming Chinese New Year. A lot of businesses probably won't even make it to the holiday. This isn't exaggeration. Restaurant owners really need to figure out how to survive.
海南到底怎么了？今天我们就在湛江的徐闻港。
What's going on with Hainan? Today we are at Shuwen Port in Zhangjiang, planning to head back to Hainan Island, and the ferry terminal was nearly deserted. There were hardly any people on the boats either. Normally around this time of year, you have to book tickets well in advance, and even then it's tough to secure one. Now it feels like you could cross over any time without any hassle. So if anyone's thinking about visiting Hainan for a vacation, now's the perfect time. Recent posts on social media suggest that Hainan is turning into a deserted island. Seafood prices in Sanya have reportedly dropped 20-fold, and tourists nationwide are refusing to spend. What should be the peak season in Hainan now feels like the off-season. Business owners who invested 2 million yuan into guest houses are struggling to attract visitors. Even at a rate of just 200 yuan per night, many are resorting to pleading with tourists to visit, offering an enjoy now, pay later model to encourage spending.
今年我们海南的旅游业确实是非常难的。
Tourism in Hainan has been incredibly tough this year. Even Hohai village in Sanya, which used to be packed with people, is deserted. Let's see how much things cost in Hohai now. Oh, here's a place for just over 100 yuan, and they say you can enjoy now and pay later. Coach, is that really true? Enjoy now, pay later?
Yeah, all costs are included now, and there are no additional marketing fees.
今年生意是真的太难做了。
Business has been so hard this year. I've run a guest house for 10 years, and this has been the toughest year yet. In the past, I could just lower the prices a bit, and bookings would shoot up. Now, even cutting prices doesn't help. There's just no one here. Look at our guest house. You could stay in a king bed room for under 200 yuan now. Rent for 2 days is 359 yuan, and it comes with a pool. The mattress is brand new. The value for money is incredible, but still, no one's booking. We have 5 guest houses on the island with over 50 rooms. We even built pools, spending more than 2 million yuan on renovations. But business is still extremely difficult.
太惨了啊！今年的三亚都没什么人啊。
It's so bleak. Sanya feels empty this year, and it's almost New Year's. Look at the beach. It's Saturday, and there's barely anyone here. Whether it's the beach, the airport, or the duty-free shops, even though foot traffic has picked up a little, it's still nowhere near what it used to be. Sanya right now is just incomparable to the past. A Chinese vlogger recently shared his thoughts on why fewer people are spending their winters in Hainan this year. He explained that, as an ordinary university graduate who relocated to Hainan for work, he used to earn and spend in Hainan. Now, however, he earns in Hainan but spends outside the island. Born and raised in northwest China, he was drawn to Hainan by its blue skies, white clouds, and ocean views. Last year, his parents flew to visit him. His father was eager to try mantis shrimp, but holiday prices were shocking. A type that usually costs 70 to 80 yuan per jin has surged to nearly 300 yuan, almost quadrupling. On the third day of the Lunar New Year, the family visited Sanya, only to find hotel rates equally outrageous. A room that typically costs just over 200 yuan was priced at 900 yuan. While he loves Hainan, he said the steep holiday price hikes are unreasonable and have turned peak tourist seasons into off-seasons, leaving popular areas deserted. Hainan's economy has seen its share of ups and downs. The province was officially established in 1988 and immediately designated as an economic special zone. This sparked a wave of investment from across China, with many betting on Hainan becoming the Hawaii of the East. However, in the early 1990s, the real estate bubble burst. Combined with the financial crisis, Hainan's economy never fully recovered. In 2000, the province introduced visa-on-arrival policies aiming to attract tourists from Japan, the US, and Russia. Despite these efforts, the dreams of becoming the Hawaii of the East never came true. In 2018, the Chinese Communist Party designated Hainan as a free trade port, planning to implement zero-tariff policies and introduce customs management. Authorities announced that the free trade zone would be fully established by the end of 2025. Under this plan, Hainan was set to become a designation for tourists from nearly 60 countries, allowing them to visit visa-free and purchase duty-free goods, including cosmetics, imported cars, and even yachts. However, progress on this ambitious project has fallen short of expectations. Official data shows that in the first 3 quarters of this year, Hainan's economy grew by 3.2% year-on-year. This is well below the local government's annual target of 8% and lags behind the national growth rate of 4.6%. Beijing's goal of turning Hainan into the world's largest duty-free shopping zone by 2025 now seems increasingly unlikely as China's overall economy continues to slow. Statistics from Hainan's 3 major airports indicate that from January to October 2024, passengers' arrivals total 20.3 million, a 4.6 year-on-year increase. However, with Chinese consumers scaling back their spending, visitors are arriving but spending significantly less. Data from Haikou Customs revealed that between January and October 2024, duty-free sales on departing tourists reached 26.1 billion yuan, a 31.6% year-on-year decline. Meanwhile, the number of duty-free shoppers dropped to 4.9 million, down 16.2% from the previous year. During the National Day Golden Week in 2024, average sales at Hainan's duty-free stores fell by 32.5% compared to the same period last year, with per capita spending down by 8.9%. In early December 2024, a blogger posted a video expressing concern, saying, "It feels like there's no one left in Haikou. Who's going to buy all the new houses?"
感觉海口像空城了一样的，不知道大家有没有发现哦？
Haikou feels like it's a ghost town. Have you noticed? Look at the big malls. On weekends, you might see a few people, but during the week, they're practically deserted. The Mission Hills duty-free shops looks like they're on the verge of closing. The main roads only have some traffic during rush hour. The rest of the time, they're almost empty. Have you been to Jiangdou New District or Wuyang He New District around 8 or 9 p.m.? There's hardly anyone around, and most of the buildings are dark, with just a few lights on. In Chongshan District, several villages are being demolished to make way for new housing developments, but who's going to buy these homes? Locals aren't interested, and outsiders find the cost of living here too high. On top of that, jobs are scarce. How are people supposed to live like this? During Deng Xiaoping's era, the Chinese Communist Party established numerous development and special economic zones to attract foreign investment and technology. Hainan was designated as a province-wide economic special zone under this initiative. Tan Jingyuan, a US-based current affairs commentator, explained that the CCP previously relied on tactics like raising and killing, bait and switch, and copying foreign technologies to gain temporary advantages. While this strategy seemed successful at the time, it did not reflect the CCP's actual capabilities. Tang noted that this created a major misconception for Xi Jinping, who believed the CCP could independently sustain economic growth. As a result, projects like the Xiong'an New Area, Hainan Free Trade Port, and Hengqin Development Zone, which were personally championed by Xi, remained unfinished. On December 19, 2024, Xi Jinping visited the Guangdong-Macau In-Depth Cooperation Zone in Hengqin, a project he personally promoted. A real estate agent who inspected several large residential complexes around 8 p.m. reported that occupancy rates were only 30 to 40%. The Macau New Neighborhood, the first housing project for Macau residents, had an estimated occupancy rate of less than 10%. At the newer Innovation Mall, half the stores were closed. The foot traffic was almost non-existent in the afternoon. Restaurants had less than 10% occupancy. A video capturing the scene showed a dark and empty space with a comment, "It looks like the whole place is shut down." Tang Jianyuan added that Xi's push for an internal circulation model, relying solely on domestic resources without foreign investment or technology, is unrealistic. He argues that this approach, coupled with aggressive wolf warrior diplomacy and the East rises while the West declines narrative, has deterred foreign investors. Consequently, China's domestic and international business environments, as well as its supply chains, have severely deteriorated, shifted, or broken. Li Yuanhua, a historian based in Australia, pointed out that many CCP projects end up as unfinished ventures because they are driven by political needs or personal agendas, rather than genuine economic considerations. During periods of economic growth and heavy investment, vanity projects provided opportunities for profiteering. However, market realities often expose the flaws in these initiatives, embarrassing the CCP. Hainan reflects broader economic challenges in China. Recently, videos of commercial stagnation have surfaced from various regions. According to Chinese media outlet Caixin, consumer spending across China has been consistently weak in 2024. In November, the annual growth rate of total retail sales slowed by 1.8 percentage points to just 3%. Xie Tian, a professor at the University of South Carolina, Aiken, said Hainan has become a designation for domestic tourists engaging in budget travel and downgraded consumption. He explained that Hainan's economic stagnation mirrors China's worsening geopolitical environment, declining economy, rising unemployment, and reduced consumer purchasing power. Capital flight further exacerbates the situation, presenting challenges the government cannot easily resolve. When the CCP announced plans in 2018 to establish a free trade port in Hainan, some hoped it could replicate Hong Kong's commercial success. However, Xie argued that Hainan's struggling economy cannot benefit from being tied to Hong Kong, which itself has been severely weakened by CCP policies in recent years. Once a thriving financial hub, Hong Kong now struggles to sustain itself. Hainan's quiet tourism season has been attributed to economic factors. As one observer noted, with the economic downturn, people have spent most of their savings in recent years. Now they're cutting back and opting for Guangxi and Zhejiang instead. Others cited fears of new viruses, with some avoiding Hainan to prevent potential lockdowns. One commenter said, "There's this respiratory virus going around. Better not risk it. What if you get stuck and can't return?" Recently, suspicions of a new virus strain have emerged in Beijing and other regions. Videos on social media show overcrowded children's hospitals, with many children experiencing fever and coughs. Reports indicate clusters of infections, and hospitals are reportedly running out of beds in both pediatric and adult wards. Both young and elderly patients are increasingly falling ill. Residents in Tianjin, Guangdong, Jiangsu, Shandong, Liaoning, Hubei, and Anhui reported symptoms after infection, including dizziness, alternating chills and fever, runny noses, coughs, sore throats, extreme fatigue, and overall discomfort. On December 27, a doctor in Jiangsu posted on Chinese social media platform Xiaohongshu, revealing that their hospital had identified an unknown virus. Patients presented with pneumonia and respiratory failure. While the virus was less transmissible than COVID-19, it had a significantly higher mortality rate. The doctor disclosed that 6 of the 30 patients in his ward had already died, with 3 more in critical condition and unlikely to survive. The Chinese authorities have attributed the outbreak to influenza and human metapneumovirus, denying the emergence of new strains. However, public skepticism remains high. Since the onset of COVID-19 in 2020, the CCP has faced accusations of concealing the truth, and its official data and statements are frequently met with doubt both domestically and internationally.
太惨了啊！今年的三亚都没什么人呐。
A TikToker reminisced about how Sanya used to be teeming with people. It's understandable that young people are now exploring places like Xi'an or heading to Harbin to enjoy the snow. That's normal, but what's really odd is that older people aren't coming to Sanya anymore. For seniors, climate is everything, and Sanya's winter is incredibly comfortable, perfect for them. Some argue it's because prices are too high. Hotels, food, transportation, everything is expensive. But it's always been pricey, hasn't it? That didn't stop anyone before. Others suggest that maybe this winter isn't cold enough and that it's a warm winter. But honestly, no matter how mild the North's winter is, it can't compare to Sanya's comfort. The real issue? Last year's flight cancellations were a huge problem. They left people feeling burned, and that kind of bad experience sticks with you. Remember when people tried to head home after the holidays and suddenly realized they were stuck, like sitting ducks? Because return tickets were outrageously expensive, they couldn't get back to work on time. In the past, elderly folks would come to Sanya for the winter, and their younger family members would join them for the holiday. But this year, the young people are too worried about getting stranded and not being able to return to work, so they decided not to come at all. And if the younger generation isn't coming, the elderly won't either. Chinese New Year is all about families reuniting and celebrating together. If the younger family members stay home, it's only natural for the older ones to do the same. After the 2024 Chinese New Year holiday, tens of thousands of tourists found themselves stranded in Sanya, forced into exorbitant spending as flight ticket prices skyrocketed to over 10,000 yuan. Many self-driving travelers also faced obstacles in shipping their vehicles off the island, leaving them unable to depart Hainan. The incident, which saw over 80,000 tourists stuck and spending heavily each day, sparked widespread discussion on Weibo. Many accuse Hainan of deliberately slowing ferry services to trap visitors on the island and compel them to spend more money. Similarly, in August 2022, Sanya experienced another crisis during a sudden COVID-19 lockdown. The unexpected measure left over 80,000 tourists stranded, according to official figures.